Thanksgiving is a feast of gratitude, family traditions, and of course, turkey. But how much of what we see on our tables today reflects the original Thanksgiving? To find out, let's go back, way back, to the very first Thanksgiving in 1621. It wasn't the same turkey-stuffed, pie-packed holiday that we know today. It was a modest gathering of pilgrims and American natives, sharing a meal to celebrate the harvest and their survival in the New World. This moment of unity and cooperation became a defining chapter of American history. Now, let's compare the wild menu of the 1600s to the abundant dishes we pile onto our plates today. Picture this. It's November 1621 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. The Pilgrims have survived their first brutal winter, worked tirelessly during the warmer months, and are now celebrating their first successful harvest. Sitting alongside them are the Wampanoag people, who played a crucial role in teaching the settlers how to grow corn and hunt in this unfamiliar land. Their feast lasted 3 days, but don't expect cranberry sauce or marshmallow-topped sweet potatoes. The food on their table was a reflection of what was available to them: simple, natural, and full of necessity. First off, there was a lot of protein. Forget about the big turkey centerpiece we're used to today. Instead, wild game like deer, ducks, and geese were the stars of the show. Seafood was also plentiful: clams, mussels, and even lobster. Back then, these items were actually easier to come by than they are today. Corn was another important part of their diet, but not in the fluffy cornbread form we know now. Corn was more likely served as a simple porridge or ground into a coarse meal. The vegetables on the table included seasonal produce like pumpkins and squash, though they weren't sweetened into pies. These were roasted or boiled and served as naturally as possible. Simple, hearty, and unadorned. Interestingly, there were no potatoes at the first feast. Both white and sweet potatoes hadn't yet made their way from South America to North American tables. And what about dessert? Well, there wasn't any. Sugar was a rare commodity in 1621, which meant that pies, cakes, and cookies were entirely off the menu. The first Thanksgiving feast was about celebrating survival, making do with what they had, and being grateful for a successful harvest. It was a far cry from the highly curated spreads we enjoy today. Fast forward a couple of centuries, and Thanksgiving had faded from regular observance. Enter Sarah Josepha Hale, a magazine editor and writer who campaigned tirelessly in the mid-1800s to make Thanksgiving a national holiday. Her vision of Thanksgiving was a cozy and domestic affair that was to be centered around unity during a time of national division during the Civil War. Hale was also instrumental in popularizing many of the dishes we now associate with Thanksgiving. This is when turkey took its place in the spotlight. Hale's writings romanticized the turkey as the quintessential Thanksgiving bird. It was large enough to feed a family and readily available. Stuffing, both for the turkey and as a dish on its own, started to appear during this time. Unlike the stuffings we enjoy today, early versions were simple, mostly bread, onions, and herbs. Chestnuts and oysters were sometimes added for flair when they were available. And finally, with the greater availability of sugar, pies made their appearance. By the mid-19th century, pumpkin pie had become a Thanksgiving staple. Hale's influence helped transform Thanksgiving into the holiday we recognize today, complete with turkey, stuffing, and pie. Now, let's move into the 1900s, when home economics began to shape American culinary traditions. Thanksgiving became a showcase for recipes designed to be economical, practical, and delicious. With mass industrialization, many of the canned foods we know today started appearing on the scene. Canning technology transformed cranberries into the gelatinous, wobbly cranberry sauce we either love or avoid. This was a major leap forward in making Thanksgiving accessible and convenient for all. Then we have mashed potatoes. As potatoes became widely available, they secured a place on the Thanksgiving table. Smooth, creamy mashed potatoes became a comforting staple during holiday meals. Around the same time, green bean casserole entered the picture. Created in 1955 by the Campbell Soup Company, this dish of green beans, cream of mushroom soup, and crispy onions became an instant classic. It represented the post-war era's embrace of convenient foods and practicality in the kitchen. By this time, Thanksgiving was no longer just about tradition. It had become a holiday where convenience and creativity in the kitchen went hand in hand. As America has grown more diverse, so has Thanksgiving. Today's Thanksgiving table reflects an incredible mix of cultures and regional variations, each family adding its own unique twist. While turkey remains the star of the show, the side dishes vary greatly depending on where you are. In the South, cornbread dressing and pecan pie are beloved staples, while in New England, oyster stuffing is still popular. Out west, tamales and enchiladas might join the feast. Immigrant families have brought their own culinary traditions into the mix. You might see Korean kimchi, Italian sausage, or Indian samosas alongside the turkey. These dishes are becoming increasingly popular as they blend into the wider American culture, bringing diversity to the holiday. We're also seeing a rising demand for eco-friendly and plant-based options. For those opting out of meat, dishes like stuffed acorn squash, lentil loaf, or even tofurkey offer a way to celebrate without the usual turkey. It's safe to say that today's Thanksgiving is as much about individual expression as it is about tradition. Whether it's tamales, kimchi, or a classic pecan pie, each family's table tells its own unique story. This brings us to an important insight. Thanksgiving has always reflected our times. It's evolved with us as a nation, shifting with our circumstances, values, and tastes. From its beginnings as a harvest festival celebrating survival and gratitude, Thanksgiving has grown to embrace creativity, diversity, and even the abundance brought by human progress. The first Thanksgiving was about resourcefulness, finding gratitude in the harvest and the spirit of unity between the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag people. There were no recipes in the way we think of them today, just simple foods prepared with what was available. Today, the spirit of Thanksgiving still holds, but we celebrate with more creativity and cultural influence than ever before. We blend classic dishes like turkey with foods like lumpia, pierogies, and mac and cheese. Desserts go far beyond pumpkin pie, often featuring treats like salted caramel cheesecake, mochi, or flan. Thanksgiving has always been a reflection of who we are as a society, then, now, and in the future. So, as you sit down to your turkey, or tofurkey, remember that the spirit of Thanksgiving is timeless, even if the menu has changed quite a bit. What's on your Thanksgiving table this year? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more delicious deep dives into food history. Happy Thanksgiving!